Hello and welcome to another episode of Tiksu to UniTartu. Today we're going to be talking all about budget and money-saving tips and tricks. Today I'm joined by Hanna-Reet, and she is our wonderful guest, and she's going to be giving you some of her budgeting tips and tricks. Hanna, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hello. I'm Hanna-Reet. I study in Viljandi. I study folk music. And budgeting is maybe not a musician's thing, but I'm a student. I've done it. And I've also moved to a different country.
Yeah, that's something as a student you got to know, and hopefully we'll help some people out today with it. First I wanted to start off by talking about arrival to Estonia. Maybe somebody just comes off the plane at Tallinn Airport. What are some things they can do to get from point A to point B?
From Tallinn Airport, you can take a tram. That's usually the cheapest. Sometimes you can pay by card on the tram, just, the tap on thing. And you can take a tram to the bus station, or sometimes the buses go straight from the airport. You can get to Tartu. That's usually the cheapest way of getting around, just public transport, the best way.
Yeah, definitely don't try to take a taxi from Tallinn to Tartu. That might...
That's expensive.
That might bankrupt you immediately. But I do also know, like, if you're taking a bus or a train, you can sometimes, look ahead and see if there's maybe cheaper times, cheaper deals.
Yes, for sure.
Definitely just don't arrive and expect to get to Tartu without paying something.
Yes, and actually sometimes it's actually cheaper to come to Riga, depending on where you're coming from. And Riga has direct buses to Tartu as well, through Lux Express. That's the best bus company in the Baltics ever. And so definitely check out both options.
Yeah. Another option is there is actually an airport in Tartu that flies, I think, 1 or 2 flights a day from Helsinki. I think it's 1 flight at the moment, but it's not as reliable, and I would kind of check in on that. But definitely weigh out your options before you come out.
Yeah, for sure.
So maybe pertaining a little bit more to you, what would you say is like the average monthly budget for a student?
Yeah, I've been thinking about that quite a lot. It's changing a lot lately.
Definitely.
Obviously. I'd say it very much depends on the living expenses as well. So on food, you would definitely... There's like... I think I pay like 30 to 40 euros a week on like food and drinks and stuff. And that's... I don't really budget that much with my food. I like good foods.
Yeah.
And then rent adds on to that. I pay rent 100 euros and I'm super lucky.
Oh, wow. That is really
good. Super lucky.
Yeah.
Definitely you won't find that deal that often.
Is that with through the university, or is that just kind of a backdoor deal you found?
That's just a backdoor deal I found.
Okay.
So be on a lookout for backdoor deals as well.
Definitely.
But yeah, usually if you want like a apartment alone, that's like 400 euros maybe. But dorms are cheaper.
Yeah.
And those are also like around 100, 200 depending on the
if
dorm.
you're sharing a room or not. I know the Tartu University, I think it's 100 something around there.
Yeah.
It's not too bad, but if you do get the opportunity, I would say like my tip to somebody coming here would be like tour the dorms, maybe come a month early, tour the dorms, see if that's like a place you want to live in, but also look around at other apartments, because once people get to, the country, they're grabbing them up real quick.
Yeah, for sure. And also, if you're coming for a longer period than just 1 year, then live in the dorms in the first year, because they do give out the rooms for first years and as a priority. And then you can make some friends and get those backdoor deals.
Maybe find yourself a roommate if that's what you're so inclined to do. Yeah,
exactly.
Definitely. So in terms of accommodation, we kind of just talked a little bit about the, how we do with apartments. But do you maybe have any resources for people to find an accommodation that they might use instead of, just going to the dorms through the university?
Yeah. A great place to look is Facebook Marketplace, actually.
Definitely.
Most of the apartments are there. And through those marketplace like announcements or posts, you can find different web pages like rentin.ee or kv.ee that have also like offers for different apartments. And a great way is actually to join some Facebook groups for apartments in Tartu, üürikorterid Tartus.
Yeah, I always see people looking for either, to sublet, to find a roommate. And obviously, as I said, students coming in during the intakes of the semesters, and it's like, okay. They go away quick.
Yeah, and don't be afraid to make a post yourself as well and like really introduce yourself. Maybe if you know someone in Estonia, they ask for help. If you can translate it, then you'll, the older generation who are renting out the apartments won't be as scared to offer it to you. Usually if you make a Facebook post, people are really helpful. They share contacts.
People will help you out find a place. Yeah, but you mentioned you spend 40 euros a week on food, and for me, that's a light budget on that. I'm spending maybe 100, 150
a week.
A week, yeah.
Wow.
So maybe I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but maybe you can tell me. Do you have some tips or tricks for budgeting when you're buying food?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I definitely have. So these cards for all the shops.
Yeah.
The client cards, partner card. Every shop in Estonia has one, and you get such good deals with those. So I mostly use them. I also buy in bulk usually. So if there's like, obviously I don't buy fresh vegetables in bulk, but like rice, or like conserved food. What's it called? Like tinned tomatoes and stuff, beans, stuff like that. And I also like to make my own food a lot. I love cooking, and that's a big saving.
Yeah.
If you kind of food prep a little bit.
Yeah, because the price of food in the last maybe 3 or 4 years here has really gone up, and it's almost. I used to eat out a lot, but now it's almost unaffordable to be going out. So I like to cook at home as well too. I will mention, you said there are great deals at the shops. You don't have to feel inclined to one specific shop. Not doing an ad here, but I usually like to shop at Coop, which is one of the grocery store brands here. But if you want to find the deals, you got to use your partner card at every different place and find out what's.
All the stores have apps.
Oh.
So you can kind of check out the apps and the deals on the apps. And if you have a card in the store, then your app will start giving you deals on the things that you buy often. So Rimi app is like the best for it, has amazing deals. And also if you go in the last hour usually, or in the last half hour before the shop closes, like stuff like pastries and fruits are usually like half a price.
Yeah, I know they do that with like meats and like perishable items. If you catch it, you'll see a big yellow sticker on it. It'll say, 50% off.
Yeah.
And I like to grab those. But if you're doing that, maybe eat it, that day or the next day. But I should probably get on those apps. I'm one of those people. I feel like a grandma because I go in and I grab the little, the little deals pamphlet and I thumb through that.
Yeah. No, the apps are where it's at. And also there's this great webpage for buying in bulk, sumena.ee, which sells food products and also like shower things and everything, and like cleaning products that have gone past their best before date. So that doesn't mean, best before doesn't mean that the food goes bad.
Yeah, it just means they need to sell it by then, right?
Yeah, exactly. So it's actually edible, it's actually usable, and usually it's like half a price or even like 80% cheaper than you would get it in the store. And Sumana really like shows the prices, the actual prices, and then how low it is. So that's like has been a lifesaver for me, for sure.
Yeah, I know there's a couple other apps that are kind of, saving food. I know there's like the Rescue app they have. Green Tartu, I know, does like these closets that you can go and people will bring leftover food,
Yes.
normally not perishable, but sometimes, during the summer, they'll be full of apples or other vegetables. So I know I like to use those sometimes, but, not all the time.
Yeah, usually I get like in Viljandi where I live, there's usually like cakes or like salads in those food cupboards. Toidukapp. They're definitely also something to look out for. And there's like I think there's a Facebook group again for that as well. So when people like take the food to the cupboard,
they take the picture. Yeah,
they take the picture and are like, "Hey, go grab it," and then you kind of have to run. But
it's definitely, most of it's pretty quality stuff. It's people aren't there just throwing out their half-eaten leftovers. They're definitely it's extra food. It's
sometimes it's like food places take or like bakeries take their leftover pastries there and stuff like that.
I've even gone there and seen a 6-pack of beer, and I was like, I'll take one. I want to share with everybody else. Yeah, yeah, definitely, exactly. So moving outside the topic of food, a big thing that when people come here, they're not prepared for the winter, right? And I've just arrived in Estonia, and I need a winter coat. Where can I go to find some like cheaper clothes? Not just winter coats, but cheaper clothes in general.
Yeah, thrift shops for sure. In Tartu, I'm not too sure about the best ones. I know Humana is really good everywhere, wherever you are in Estonia.
They have the
Sõbrale, yes. And also Uuskasutuskeskus. So those three are ones to look out for. Again, if you get like overwhelmed in the thrift shops and you're like, there's so many different clothes and nothing is my size and what is happening and then everything is so bad. I get that sometimes. Uuskasutuskeskus has a webpage, an e-store. Yes, it's amazing, and you can get all kinds of things there, and it's like there's like categories, and you're like, I need a winter coat. You can go directly there. Also, a place called Paavli Kaltsukas in Tallinn, but that one also has an e-store, which is one of my favorites. There's really cool things there, and most of my clothes are from there. Actually, if I think about it.
Some of my favorite clothes come from the thrift shops too. I find like jackets, that say like Chicago on them, and I'm like, that's sweet. That's sweet.
Yeah, and you can get like a good coat or like a winter jacket for like 10 euros, and it's amazing. And definitely be on the lookout for like these thrift shops that seem a little bit sketchy.
Yeah,
those are usually the best. You can get like the best, and especially if you like vintage clothes as well. Those are usually the best. If it looks bougie, then it's expensive. And it's gonna be, you can get really cool vintage things.
Yeah.
But if you're a cheapskate like me, then the weirder it looks, the better it will be.
Yeah, you find some cool stuff, especially once you get outside of the bigger cities. If you're going to like a small town where all there is a thrift shop, maybe a restaurant and a grocery store, then that's where you're going to find the goods, because it's definitely been like closed away in somebody's closet for maybe 30 years, and it's super cool.
Yeah, if the seller is a grandma who doesn't understand what you're saying, then
you're
that's the
in
place.
The right place.
You're in the right place. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. But I did want to also ask you about maybe student discounts, specifically. What kind of discounts can students get, and how can they get them?
Yeah, so using the student identity card, ISIC, however you say it, that gives you like great deals in most places.
Yeah.
From like food places to flights actually as well. And I think I haven't used it that much, but usually you can use it on bus tickets. You can use it in the theater sometimes, cultural events, or like if there's like a student happy hour type thing at a bar also. And I think they also have those deals, like either like if you use like a bank account with it, then you can find them there, or like a web page for Isaac as well.
Yeah, I think that's one weird thing is that the University of Tartu doesn't actually issue a student ID like a lot of other places might. So you do have to go and like get that ISIC card either through a bank account or I think you might be able to do it online possibly.
Yeah, you can do like a separate one as well that's not connected to your bank account. That's it, you don't have to. Also, there I think LHV bank LHV does like a digital version of the card. I'm not sure if other banks do it, but I have that.
Yeah,
that's
definitely.
great.
You did mention the bus tickets. I wanted to ask you maybe about accommodation in the city, just in Estonia in general. What are some ways to get around if you don't have a car, you don't want to pay for a taxi?
Yeah, you don't want to pay for a taxi. If it's like late at night, then
maybe you should.
Maybe you should. But also, I think everything is like kind of walkable distance, anyways. Unless you're like on the other side of the town and you have to like walk for like an hour. Then okay.
Definitely in Tartu or Viljandi. But I guess for students in Tallinn, but
yeah. But usually everything is kind of walkable, but also. In the warmer months, there's the scooters that are cheaper, way cheaper than using a taxi. Or there's also bikes around town that you can rent for a second. Or it's actually, if you go on Facebook Marketplace, get your own bike.
Yeah, that might be the best option.
That's
but
the
in
best
a pinch,
option.
In a pinch, the city bikes come in handy, and they have like a little electric type deal going on, so you feel like you're a real biker.
Yeah, you're like, oh yeah, this is the best speed I've ever done, and it's electric, but it
basically
works. But yeah, I think also it's around Tartu. You can't miss it. It's usually everywhere, and the scooters as well through the Bolt app.
Yeah,
Bolt.
Yeah, I think another thing we should mention, we talked about the student discounts, but I completely glazed over the ESN. The ESN card usually gives a lot of, the Erasmus Student Network card gives a lot of discount at different places, bars, restaurants, you're getting almost 10% off. I think they're partnered with Ryanair also.
I think so, yeah. I remember something when I was on my Erasmus, I was in Ireland, and I remember checking it out, but I don't think I ever used it.
I've used it a couple times to my benefit, so it's definitely saved me a few bucks. Not too bad. Yeah. So we've talked a little bit about saving a little bit of cash in town. I wanted to ask you how do you bank here, and if maybe if you have any recommendations for somebody coming to the country in terms of ease of banking, maybe.
Yeah. Well. I think most people actually also use like PayPal and stuff like that. If you don't want to make a separate bank account for yourself, but it's super easy to make one in like LHV. Such a hard thing to say in English. LHV. It's really easy to do online. Most things in Estonia are online anyways. All the documents and everything. It's super easy. But also using like Revolut. I've used that, and that has worked quite well as well. So yeah, it's quite straightforward in that sense.
Yeah, in the States, to open up a bank account, you need to show them, every single document you've ever had in your life. You have to sit down with a banker. And here it's really nice.
You just sign up. It's like making an account on like Club Penguin. It's the same.
Yeah, but that needs your parents.
That's true. It's true. You don't. I mean, you are your own parent.
Yeah, basically. My favorite go-to is actually Wise. I like using Wise. It's more of like an online kind of bank thing that they don't have a physical location, which sometimes is, not as good. But it works really well for me, and just setting it up to get paid in Estonia, because I still keep my American bank, and it's hard sometimes. So having the local kind of thing has really helped me out.
Yeah, and also we don't really use cash that much.
No.
Only if you go like to markets and stuff to buy fresh fruits from grandmas.
Yeah.
Which is also a great budgeting tip if you want, really good food for cheap.
Oh yeah, they have amazing grandmas. They have amazing produce. You go and you see the grandmas selling, and I like that. That's a good way to practice Estonian too if you're new. That's
for sure.
Do you have any other maybe perhaps budgeting tips or financial tips you'd like to grace the audience with before, you know?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's not very practical, maybe, but it is something that I do that's helped me. Is that I have two bank accounts. So when I get my monthly payment, I kind of just put half of it, or like as much as I can, I put on the separate bank account. So that makes it kind of inconvenient for me to use the money. So it's like a backup in case there's like emergency, something, I need my computer breaks, or like I need to buy a new leg, whatever can happen. You never know.
Just at the leg store. Yeah. No, yeah. Emergency fund is definitely great to have. I think that's a great tip. I think for me, I don't want to, get too deep into the finances, but for me coming in, Tartu, I don't know, coming to Estonia, we would just throw our recycling on the side of the road. Somebody come pick it up and you had to pay for it. I've seen students here that drink probably more than a fish, and they love, having their alcohol, but they wouldn't recycle their stuff. And every single bottle and can is 10 cents here. So
yes, the recycling. See, that's something that I kind of, I forget about, because it's such a usual thing that I finish my drink, I put it in the data pile, in the recycling pile, and then we take it out and we're like, oh yeah, extra like $20.
Yeah.
Especially if you like to host people, they bring beer cans.
They're not going to take them with them.
Yeah.
No, that's free.
They're going to leave it for you. You basically have a ticketed event.
Yeah, basically.
So that's like, that's a great way of
definitely.
Extra money.
Yeah, when I see people throwing them out, I'm just like, oh, hurts you in the heart. But we are running a little bit low on time. And one thing I like to ask everybody that comes in is, can you give an Estonian recommendation? Something that might be a media, a food, maybe a place to go. Maybe you might want to recommend Viljandi, but something Estonian for a newcomer.
I'm going to recommend Viljandi because it's a hippie town. We're all cheapskates. There's cheap bars and lots of cultural events, lots of music, lots of theater, lots of performance things. In general. History, really cool town. I recommend it.
Yeah, I think that's great. Thank you so much, Hanna. And that's going to be all the time we have. So this has been Tiksu to UniTartu. Thank you.